Hi traders, and welcome to the Technical Analysis Market Watch on Friday the 21st of February. So we've finally seen some really good movement on some of the key indices and currencies this week, where some of the key levels that we've been talking about have been broken. So we'll jump straight into the charts and see if we can identify any trades for today or early into next week. So we'll start out here with the Aussie USD, and we can see that we've seen that clear break. It's been a really good week for it, actually. We saw some consolidation and a little bit of a pullback earlier in the week, but today just blasted through and basically hit the level that we've been actually talking about, which is the 64-cent mark after a pretty good move. Look, if you go to the 15-minute chart, you'll see, any of these smaller charts will show the same thing, but you can see how it all played out. And once we actually start to get momentum, the things we talk about basically every week play out, pull back to the 20 moving average, then off it goes, another pullback to the 20 moving average, little mini double bottom in the direction of the main trend, and then off it goes again, straight into our 64-cent profit. So that was a really good trade on the Aussie USD. It was promising to do so, though. For those of you who joined us on the Pepperstone webinar on Wednesday, it was really setting up. You could see that it was actually really setting up for a move up and long, with a lot of consolidation down here and a good move and breakout out of this zone. So there was no real surprises that it's done this. What we can probably expect now is if we do see a break of the 64-cent mark, which is probably likely now, I would be looking for it to retest that level from above. If we get a break above there and retest it from there, I'd be looking for consolidation around that point, and then another lower high or higher low sequence off that point, and then we'd be moving to the next level, which is again an even stronger level than the 64-cent mark, which is the 65-cent mark. You can see we've got a lot of support and resistance through here, making it a roll reversal zone. So really good trading on this one. So hopefully you're able to take advantage of that move, and if you haven't, I think you're probably still going to get a chance. So just wait for it to break through, retest from above here, and join in on the smaller time frames. Just pull back to the 20 moving average and continuation with the longer trend. 20 and the 50 is about to cross, hasn't crossed for a long time, as we talked about. So realistically, momentum is really good with the Aussie. All right, over to the US dollar CAD. And you can see it was basically hanging on for dear life this week. It tried to pull back. You can see it tried to actually get back up to some resemblance of resistance, but it failed to do so. And today's candle is effectively trying to close lower. Once this does close lower, if we get a close below 140, 150, the target will be obviously 141 will be the first target. You can see here we've got resistance at that point, so that would be the area I'd be looking for. But the real, very strong target is actually down here. We've got this is a lot heavier supported level because we've got resistance right through there and really strong support at this level here. So really, 139.30 is probably the level I'd be aiming for once we do get a breakthrough here, but it will potentially have a bit of a pit stop around that sort of 141 area, because there is resistance at that point. There's no question about that. So just be mindful of that. Ideally, we want a daily close below 140, 150 before we get involved in that. And we've got a 20 and a 50 about to cross as well. Now, remember, the 20 and the 50 haven't crossed on the CAD since all the way back here in October of last year. And when it did, price was at around that sort of 138 level. So, reasonable amount of movement possible if we do get that cross, because the momentum has definitely shifted down now. We're obviously in a lower high, lower low sequence on the daily. So all that information is giving us a good momentum shift. And first target 141, second target 139.30. So pretty good trades on the CAD potentially coming up, but we do need to close below that 140, before we get excited about that. We want to see that break of that level that has held up most of the week. Okay. All right, over to the US dollar yen. And again, we've seen a very key break here as well. Obviously, this level was very strong around that sort of 151. But once it did break that, the obvious target and the very solid target is 149 here. Hasn't quite reached it yet, but it's certainly giving it a crack. We're not very far away from it now, actually. So hopefully you're able to get involved in this trade, because it was a pretty comfortable and easy trade to get involved in once that level broke. Now, you've got to go to the smaller time frames to take advantage of that, of course. But absolutely as easy as day. You can see what has gone on here. It started to lower high, lower low sequence, and once we did get a break past that 151, as you can see, the daily you knew was in a pretty short trend. So realistically, I know a lot of people got in earlier than that because it was looking fairly weak, but you had the pullbacks from around this level here, another pullback there, and pullbacks all the way through there. So basically, every trade from here was gettable. There was 3 of them there that were fairly solid, and we're still looking pretty short. So look, I think that the target opportunity is still there, but I'd be looking for a pullback to the 20 moving average and yeah, hopefully see that momentum continue. But 149 is a pretty strong level for it. So just be mindful of that. There's fairly strong support here with the rebound that we saw here and the resistance through there and also in this area here. So just be respectful of that level when you are trading it, that yeah, it may potentially bounce off quite heavily and push up long. So that's a great place to look for potential take profits. But also, if it does reverse from here, you might want to look at trades back up to around that 151 because that might be the obvious draw to pull it up again. If we get a daily close below there and it continues on, then really the next level is around that sort of 146.20. The yen moves in pretty big levels when it does get cracking. And look, there's no question it is in a downtrend right now. And yeah, the momentum is certainly weak with it. So yeah, certainly keep an eye on this level, 149 being the key level here. All right, over to the dollar index, which is also broken. You can see that today we're about to get a 20 moving average cross, 50 moving average cross as well. So again, it didn't do that since the 103, as you can see, right around this area here. Definitely going to do it now. And we've got the lower high, lower low lightning bolts, as you know. And most importantly, we've also got a break of that 106.60 area that was very important in the hold up of price. So look, the target around here is the 106. It's not very far from that already, right? So, the euro is obviously the one we're going to trade, so we'll go to that in a moment. But realistically, this is the level that we're aiming for the dollar index. It's not very far from that. We've still got an hour or two of trading for this session before it even closes in the US. So just keep an eye on this level. 106 is an area that is of extreme interest, and more than likely, we're going to see some sort of support there. The euro, of course, is the one that we will be trading. And again, from that webinar that we did on Wednesday night, if you haven't seen it, jump on the YouTube channel for Pepperstone and you'll be able to watch the replay of that. We did look at the euro quite extensively and all of the good things that were really pointing to a long move on the euro. And as you can see, we've had a pretty good bounce off the 20 moving average. Now, again, if you go to the smaller time frames, the trading intra-session was pretty straightforward. Once it got cracking, you can see the higher high, higher lows forming, touches to the 20 moving average, and off it went. So pretty straightforward trading on the euro. Same deal is in terms of resistance. So we've got 105.50 as the target. That would be the initial target of where we're going with the euro on the long side. Once it gets a break above that, however, we're certainly targeting quite a bit higher than that. That's around that 106.80 in the first instance. So in the first short-term trade, we're looking for a move up to around that 105.40 to 50. And then a break of that, a retest of that level would be ideal. And then we'll try and push on to the 106.80. The dollar index is looking certainly weaker, but just be mindful that there is support at 106, which is not very far away. So it might, and that's roughly in the same vicinity of the 105.30 here on the euro. So you might see a little bit of interaction around that zone. All right, and finally, we'll have a look at the S&P 500. We finally saw a little bit of weakness on this, actually. It's been grinding its way higher for quite some time. This is the first time we've seen a little bit of weakness in, quite a few weeks, actually, since this hammer candle here. So realistically, the 20 moving average is still in its way, so I wouldn't be looking at shorting it just yet. I'd be probably looking for support around that 20 moving average. I wouldn't even consider shorting this one until we've actually got a close below that 20 moving average on a daily. So below 106.50 or 60.50 right now is what we're after here. A close on that at that point, and then we'd be looking quite a bit further down for the next point of support. So no real surprises, but again, I wouldn't be jumping in straight away. It's not a massive. I guess it's a decent sell-off in terms of the day and compared to what it's done over this week. But it's not, nothing to be panicking about either. I think I'd be looking for it to potentially find support at the 20 moving average, and we'd be looking at it with a different lens if it does actually break the 20 moving average. But it certainly hasn't done that yet. If it does that, we'll be looking at it quite a bit differently, but I would probably expect to find a little bit of support here. Look for a series of higher highs and higher lows on a smaller time frame, and then look to push up to the previous highs as a target if we get some momentum on the smaller time frames going up. But if we get a daily break below the 20 moving average, we'll be having a very different conversation at that point, because then the weakness is probably going to start to set in, and the 20 has lost its effectiveness in supporting this on its way up. All right, so hope you've had a great week's trading. Some really good levels have been hit, ones we've been talking about for a week or two. So hopefully you're able to take advantage of those because they were really good trades. Have a fantastic weekend. I look forward to seeing you all next week.